Welcome back, everyone. We're speaking with John Januszko, Executive in Residence here at Purdue University Calumet. And John, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great, thanks. And I'd first of all like to ask you, what exactly is an Executive in Residence?
Well, I'm told that I'm the first one, so I guess I have the right to help define that. I see it as a two-way street. One way is for an executive, in this case me, to be able to pay back to the industry something that the industry has been extraordinarily good to me. This gives me an opportunity to give a little bit of that experience, I hope, back to education. I've been very fortunate to be able to work with some real giants in the restaurant business and Bruce White in the hotel business, and hopefully learn something from those experiences that I can maybe pass on to the students. Now, I said this was a two-way street because I do think it provides a tremendous experience for the students, because you can't push a string, but if they see the fact that the school is bringing people with industry experience into the classroom and they can tap into that experience, and that's what I mean by not pushing a string. You can't force them to do that, right, but the opportunity to tap into that particular individual's experience is there for the students to take advantage of. Hopefully the students will be able to see that and begin to take advantage of it. I think this first semester is a leap of faith for the 24 students that signed up for my class, because there's no book on the street about me. There's no, well, 5 or 6 years of, well, don't take him, he's tough, or her, or whatever it is. There's nothing out there. So I thank them, each one of them, for taking that leap of faith for whatever their reason, and signing up for my particular class, and hopefully it may be a rocky ride, but hopefully we all get through it. So it's good for the industry, it's good for the educational system, and hopefully it's best for the student to take advantage of, hopefully people like me in the continuum, to be able to come back and take advantage of the classroom and maybe share some experiences with the students. I think that's a good program.
Now, you taught here before, right?
I did not teach here before, but in my background, my gosh, 30 years ago, William Rainey Harper College in Palatine, Illinois, was starting a school and starting a brand new program there. I was fortunate to be there, and then eventually took over the academic program as well as the food service program, since it was a restaurant, 2-year restaurant management program, as well as a baking certificate, cooking certificate. So it made sense that, because the classrooms were actually production kitchens and bakeries, that we also did the food service on campus. So I had 2 bosses. Oh. This is much simpler, with one boss and one class. This is much simpler. So the classroom is not foreign to me, but it's been a while.
Right. And the industry is the food industry that you've been involved in,
and the hotel industry.
And the hotel, okay.
Yes, 10, 15 years in the food industry, and the last 20 years with White Lodging in the hotel business.
Oh, okay, right here in Northwest
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what makes this thing kind of perfect, because probably one of the larger employees, if not the largest employees, of graduates from Purdue Cal will find their way into a White Lodging property or be associated with White Lodging. If not after they graduate, then while they're in school as front office managers, restaurant cooks, chefs, line cooks, or whatever. There's a number of opportunities right here with all of the properties that White Lodging manages in Northwest Indiana.
And so some of those, what are some of those properties?
Well, we've got, just off the Kennedy here, we've got a Residence Inn, a Courtyard, and a Fairfield Inn. The Radisson in Maryville, with that whole complex there, there's a Courtyard there. Across the street is a Fairfield Inn. If we move into the Chicago market, we've got properties downtown Chicago. We've got properties in Oak Brook, a little further out into the Indiana area. I mean, we just opened up the largest JW Marriott in the world, actually, in Indianapolis a few weeks back, and it's doing extraordinarily well. So
yeah, I hear it has a few beds there, doesn't it?
Oh my goodness, yes, 1,005, I believe.
Wow.
So that's a lot of beds. That's a lot of beds.
Yeah, it is a lot of beds, and quite a striking structure as well.
It is a lovely structure, and it kind of highlights the whole downtown area. It kind of focuses on the downtown area, and again, it provides I believe there's somewhere between 600 and 800 people employed there, so it was a good job generator, especially in the economy the way it is. It did help.
Sure. Everybody helps.
Yeah, everybody.
So are you still involved with Whiteco, or?
Well, it's not Whiteco, it's White Lodging. There is a difference. I mean, Whiteco is Mr. Dean White, White Lodging is Mr. Bruce White, and there's a separation. In a peripheral way, I spent yesterday at the office. I'm still welcome. I tell them it's good for a cup of coffee, and you know, it's good to say howdy and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I still have an active email address on the White Lodging website, so people can still contact me if they want to, and that kind of stuff. It also helps. The connection also helps as we look at the ability to bring guest speakers in, guest presenters into the classroom, because of the connections I still have and the relationships I still have with literally thousands of managers out there that work for White Lodging, to be able to bring them into the classroom and be able to talk about their particular area of expertise. In my mind, a guest speaker is not just a presenter on anything they want to present. I think if we're going to make guest speaking meaningful for the students, we should identify a topic that is part of that particular class and bring somebody in that's an expert in it. We've got people coming in this semester whose job is to identify how to put together compensation and benefit packages. Well, that's what they're going to talk about in class. So it's not just a, hi, how are you? Any questions?
Or self-promotion kind of thing.
That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything for the student body. So we're trying to be able to, in this class in particular, since human resources is all-encompassing, and that's the nature of the class. The difficulty, if there is one in this class, is to take the human resource thought process and ratchet it down to ground zero, where it becomes meaningful to students that aren't going to be human resource managers. Right. So they have to have an appreciation, in my mind, and an understanding of what human resources is about, so that they can then become partners. Human resources wants to be, and is in many cases, a strategic partner around the boardroom table. It wasn't always that way. So human resources, that whole discipline, has an awful lot of involvement in how any business is run. My job is to help take that thought process and make it meaningful for a line supervisor. So we talk about human resources in relation to the department that they're running as their own business. Let's not think about numbers. Let's just think that department is your business. That shift is your business.
Right.
How can you take these human resource concepts and apply them to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis? They're definitely portable skills that you're taking.
Well, and these guest speakers must also bring some cutting edge. They're forgive the pun, but they're in the trenches. I mean, exactly. You know, what exactly is going on right now in the real world?
Exactly, and that's why we try to identify people that fit into the syllabus and bring them in to the best of the ability. There's not always we're talking about this week, and we got this. We have to be cognizant of their work schedules and their times too. So we try to, during the course of the semester, we try to bring people in that can speak directly to the point, and that's what they do for a living. And that becomes, I think, in my mind, that becomes more meaningful. Now, hopefully the students take advantage of that and ask the right kinds of questions, and take advantage of that person's expertise, and have at that person, so to speak. I'm hoping that works.
I think it should. How does experiential learning come into play?
It does come into play. It's a double-edged sword. It comes into play because you can talk about the experiences that people have had, and there's always somebody in class that has had that experience, okay? The other side of that sword, though, is if they've had a bad experience, then you've got to play how we can turn that, how we take a lemon and make it lemonade. Okay, all right, let's talk about it, class. You had a bad experience doing this because of such and such. What could we have done to make that experience better? Sometimes we digress from the plan of attack for that particular day because questions like that come up in the class, and then we have to take a little side trip out in the woods, and then we have to steer back into what we think we want to accomplish.
Well, and that's part of the learning process too. I mean, nothing straight highway.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, it's good that you do see that and recognize that, though.
Right, and then we try to have the students. Today's students are challenged, and I don't know that they know it yet. The hospitality industry is based, in my mind, and I'm a dinosaur, okay? I understand that, but in my mind, it's based upon face-to-face communication with that guest. Okay, I don't know that you can respond to a guest effectively with an email or a Twitter or whatever those things are. Okay, but they are so into, today's generation is so into technology that some of the skills that we may have had back when we had to have those face-to-face skills, communication skills, we're pushing that as far as I can push it. We're doing an awful lot of, as a matter of fact, class grades are probably 55 to 60% based upon presentation skills on a topic as opposed to the written exam. Because we want to make sure that the student is comfortable getting up in front of a group of their peers. You're not always going to have a group of friends out there that you're talking to. Okay, you may have a hostile crowd in front of you.
They may not be throwing tomatoes, but they're
but they may be hostile. And so where are you going to get that experience? Practicing in front of a mirror, maybe, but probably not.
Yeah, so, self-anger issues, perhaps, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
We have certain projects during the course of the semester. As a matter of fact, on a weekly basis, a group of students rotating every week have to find a topical website connected to the hospitality industry, pull an article off the website and make a presentation in class as to why it's important and what effect it could have on their future in the hospitality industry. Well, it's good communication, but it's also good oral presentation on their part. We're trying to make sure that they're comfortable not only with understanding human resources, but if human resources is about developing people, if that's one of the priorities on that list of priorities that human resources is responsible for doing, career development, development of people, training, etc., then I see this as fitting into the curriculum because it's something that if they can't communicate, they're going to be in trouble.
Indeed. And John, on that note, unfortunately, we're all out of time. So
not already.
Yes, we are. We've got to work on those interpersonal skills, don't we?
Yes, we do.
That's the one thing we have to take away today.
And we have to. People have to understand how they have to brand themselves also for future consideration in the employment world.
Indeed. And John, how would someone get a hold of you on campus?
Well, they can get a hold of me by checking with Professor Flannery's office upstairs. Yes. I'm on campus 1 day a week.
Yeah.
I'm on the Purdue email.
Great.
And they can get it that way. Best way is to go through the secretaries in room 217, 216.
Okay.
And I've got office hours on Wednesdays, so that would be the best way to do it.
John Januszko, Executive in Residence here at Purdue University Calumet. Thanks so much for being on the program.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks again for coming on the show.
Okay.